Today, I'll be addressing some challenges fish farmers face, especially new ones, especially the beginners, the first timers. Most often, when I go to social media, Facebook, I'll visit many fish farmers group. I'll see many farmers, I'll see their posts. Their posts will read, I got my juvenile 3 months now. I've been feeding the fishes from 3 months now. They have refused to grow. Some will now come under the comment section. I'll be making comments like, oh, you got a bad seed. You got a bad seed. That's why they are not growing. Some will comment like, how old is the fish? Which feed are you giving them? Where do you put them? What is your feeding pattern? And a lot of questions like that. At the end of the day, they will not provide solution to the person that made that post seeking for way out. Today, I will be addressing that issue and I'll be providing solution to the beginners. This video is mainly for farmers who are just entering into the business. This video is majorly for fish farmers who can differentiate between fingerling and post-fingerling and juvenile. Now, let me make this point clear. In my journey so far in fish farming business, there is nothing like stunt growth. There is nothing like stunt growth among fish. Among the fishes, there is nothing like stunt growth. Stunt growth are being caused by mistakes of the farmers. Each time you see your fishes are not growing, or some are growing bigger and the other ones are not growing, I must be sincere to you, the fault is from you, the fish farmer. You have not taken something into consideration, and most times, many of the fish farmers tends to, you just see that your friend is into fish farming, you go to his farm, you see them feeding the fishes, next thing you are entering into fish farm business. But there are many things you're supposed to know as a beginner before proceeding to venture into fish farming business. And from today, I'll be making you to understand that there are things you need to know. It's not all about the seed. Now, take for instance, you got your juvenile and you start feeding them with 2 mm, with blue crown or top feed or eco float. And someone else goes to the same farmer and bought the same juvenile and start feeding them with 0.8 to 1.2 mm or 1.2 mm to 1.5 mm. Coupons. Do you think both of you are going to get the same result? Just ask yourself that question. Wow, you might be hearing it for the first time. I know most of the new farmers may be hearing coupon for the first time. Yes, coupon. That is the starter. 0.8 to 1.2 and 1.5 are starters for juvenile. You don't start your juvenile with 2 mm. Most importantly, you don't start your juvenile with local feed. Now let me take you back. Imagine farmer A gets 5,000 fingerlings from Lacus farm, and farmer B gets the same 5,000 fingerlings from Lacus farm. Farmer A starts with coupons 0.3 mm to 0.5 mm, while farmer B starts with blue crown 1.5 mm. Who do you think that we have a good result? Now, after 4 months, farmer A will have a rainbow cells, while farmer B will still be crying in his farm. He have wasted a lot of money, saying that, wow, I got a bad seed. This farmer sold me a bad feed, a bad seed. Why did he sow the bad seed to me? But the truth of the matter is not a bad seed. You, the farmer, made a mistake. Now, let's even go outside their feeding. What matters again is how do you stock your fishes? Which pond, what size of the pond do you stock those 5,000 fingerlings? Farmer A will stock his 5,000 fingerlings in a concrete pond of 10 by 12. While Farmer B will stock the same 5,000 fingerling in a tarpaulin pond of 1,000 liters without properly sorting them as time goes on. While Farmer A is continuously sorting his or her fishes on weekly basis, before you know it, the fishes has been divided into their sizes by sizes in 5 different ponds. While Farmer B is still battling all those 5,000 fingerlings in one tarpaulin pond for 2 months without sorting, without anything. How do you think you get results? So that is the major problem. The problem is not the seed. Now, let me give you a solution to that, so that as a new farmer, as someone new to the system, this video will help you to be able to know the right thing to do, the right feed size to give your fishes from fingerling stage. Now, listen very attentively as I'm going to narrow it down for you, and follow this step I'm giving you today, and come back in 4 months' time and let me know what your result is. Now, first and foremost, before you bring your fingerlings to your farm, if it's a new pond, you have to treat your pond. How do you treat your pond? I will tell you the measure I use in treating my ponds and some of the ponds of the farmers I manage their farm. I'm not going to give you many options. I'm going to give you just one option that is very simple to follow. If your pond is a new pond, what you have to do is thoroughly wash your pond with hypo. Wash your pond with hypo. After washing your pond with hypo, you buy salt. Buy a pack of salt, 200 grams. Use the first one and rinse the pond. Rinse it after you have finished washing your pond with hypo. The next thing you're going to do is rinse the pond. After rinsing the pond now, the next thing you are going to do is fill in the pond with water. Once you are filling the pond with water, sprinkle salt on top of the pond. Inside the pond, sprinkle salt on it. Now, cut dry plantain leaf. Cut, let's say, 6 pieces of dry plantain leaf and spray it on top of the water inside the pond. Leave it for 6, 7, 8, 10 days before bringing in your fingerlings. Leave those plantain leaf on top of those water. Watch them. Within 7 to 8 days, you will find out that that plantain leaf is already forming muco in the pond. The pond is now having a greenish color under it and the fork sideways of the pond. A greenish something have started developing there. What that signifies is that the pond is healthy and aquatic animals can survive inside the pond. Now, you can now go ahead and remove those plantain leaves and dredge the water out. Proceed to bringing your fingerlings to your farm. When you are going to get your fingerlings, if your fingerlings is up to 2,000, I advise you to use 50 liters of jerry can, well perforated by the corner. Wash the jerry can very well with the same way you have washed your pond. Use salt to rinse the jerry can and proceed to bring your fingerlings. When you have brought your fingerlings to your farm, what you will do, immediately you bring your fingerlings to your farm now, remove them from the jerry can. Don't put the same water that is in that jerry can into the pond together with the fish. Separate the fishes. Those fingerlings, put them into the pond. Immediately you put them in that pond, don't say, "Hi, I've traveled a long distance," or I've been on the road, the fishes are hungry. Don't rush to feed them. Leave those fingerlings there for at least 2 hours. If you have bought fingerlings of a month from hatch, what I mean a month from hatch is that before you are buying your fingerlings, it is very necessary for you to ask the farmer, how old is this fish? Fingerlings start from a month. Some will be 6 weeks, some 8 weeks. But any fingerlings that is below 6 weeks, you have to start feeding that fingerlings with 1.5, 0.8 mm. Once the fingerlings is up to 4 weeks, 6 weeks, the best feed for you to get a good result that we are going to give to those fingerlings is 0.8 mm of coupon. Coupons food is a foreign feed. You have to start nurturing your fishes with foreign feed. And the best feed that I've used so far that have given me a tremendous result is coupons. You have to start with 0.8 mm. That is starter to breed your fish. Once, if it is, let me use for instance, the fishes you brought to your pond is 2,000 fingerlings. You start with 0.8 mm. Now, within 3 weeks, the feed has been exhausted. You will find out that the fishes is now up to you to sort them. Most times, I don't advise new farmers and other farmers to sort fingerlings immediately they brought it to the farm in 1 week, because if you start sorting them immediately, they are going to be passing through stress. And remember, as you brought your fingerlings to your farm, you are going to be changing water on a daily basis. You are going to be changing water in their pond on a daily basis. And you know they are very tiny. So if you have changed the water, feed them. Don't go sorting them. After 2 weeks, you can now sort your fishes. By then, you observe that some of them has grown to the stage of post-fingerlings. You find out that some of them is rushing to juvenile, while some are still at the fingerling stage. Now, you proceed to get in another feed. When you have separated these fishes into 2 or 3 ponds, you will now find out that you have 3 stages of fish already. You will now buy 1.5 mm of coupons feed. Now, if that 0.8, you have exhausted them, you need to buy, even if it is half bag, again. Because those tiny ones that didn't meet up to post-fingerling stage and juvenile stage, you won't be feeding them with the 1.5 mm. You are going to continue to feed them with 0.8 mm, at least for an interval of a week plus, so that they can meet up. You don't change their feed immediately to 1.5 mm, because some of them, you watch their head, you watch their mouth. If you feed those fishes 1.5 mm, they won't be able to pick them. And when you come to change their water, you find out that all the fish are in the pond. Now, for those 2 ponds there, you don't change entirely to 1.5 mm. You are going to be giving, when you feed them firstly with the 1.5 mm, the next feed, you watch them, you will now take small from the 0.8 mm and feed them. So that some of the fishes, when you are sorting the fishes, there is probability that you might include those ones that you think they are big like that into the ponds, into where you have put the post fingerlings and the standard, the juvenile and the standard fingerling. Now, you now put the 0.8 mm into those ponds so that those ones that were unable to pick 1.5 mm, they can now pick the 0.8 mm. You will see it that they will be growing together. Now, when it is time for you to change the feed to 2 mm, you don't rush and change it completely. You start feeding them 2 mm. Immediately you feed 2 mm, you have a reserve of 1.5 mm that you are going to feed in that same pond, so that those fishes that were unable to pick 2 mm immediately, they will continue with the other feed. Before you know it, they will be used to it. When you do that in a week interval, all of them will now be accustomed with that 2 mm. They will now start feeding on it. The same thing occurs when you change the feed. Now remember, after the 2 mm stage, that is the 2nd month, and we are now in the 3rd month. Because of high cost of feed, you can now change to locally made feed. I have 2 locally made feed that I've used for a long time, and they have given me an optimal result. They are Blue Crown and Top Feed. And you'll be very, very observant now, because if you watch carefully in the market, you find out that Top Feed is now into 2. They now have a Top Feed and Top Feed Farmer. For now, I have not tested how the second Top Feed work, but I've always advised my students and the people I manage their farm to go for the main Top Feed that we know. This gives a very robust result. If you are not going with Top Feed, you can proceed with Blue Crown. Now, another feed is Eco Float. I only advise Eco Float when your fishes are due for sale, when they're on table size, because Eco Float have more energy in their feed. At that point now, your feed needs energy. They need weight. They gain more weight with Eco Float. So you can start with 6 mm to 9 mm with Eco Float. But anything below that, I'll advise you to continue Blue Crown or Top Feed. But if you have the resources, you can go ahead and feed your fishes with foreign feed till they are due. But as you are doing that, you should be able to cost your production cost and cost what the fish value in the market is, to be able to know if you will actually make it. Because currently, a bag of 0.8 mm coupons cost 24,500 naira here in Port Harcourt. A bag of 1.5 mm costs 24,500, while a bag of 2 mm costs 42,500. And the feed continues to increase on daily. While with 15,000, 17,000, you can get 2 mm of Blue Crown and 2 mm of Top Feed. So you have to minimize your cost so that you will minimize your profit. Thank you. And I hope you find this video educating and interesting. And if you have learned anything here, especially on how to feed your fishes, the sizes of the feed you should be giving to your fishes, from fingerlings to dry size, for you to maintain optimal growth. With this method, you will find out that there is nothing like stunt growth in your fishes. Rather, you are the one that have not been giving them the sizes of feed they could have picked and eat and grow together with others. So from today, I don't want you to have the intention that the fish you bought from a farmer is a stunt fish, that they don't grow. No, no, no. I want you to change that mindset and do the proper thing. When you do the proper thing now, you should be able to understand that you have been making a mistake for a long time. Because there are many things in fish farming which people will not ordinarily tell you until you come in for them to coach you. And if you are going into fish farming and it's not just a backyard farming and you want to go into fish farming full way, I will advise you to get someone in the field who will be sincere to educate you. You need to consult an expert, somebody with practical knowledge of fish farming, so that you will not be stranded in the middle of the way. Because one of the basic things in fish farming that gives issue is people will jump into fish farming in the middle of the way, they have jumped out. Why? Because they did not get the proper information before coming on board. But with proper information, you find out that fish farming is very lucrative. You find out that fish farming is very interesting. You find out that fish farming is not stressful the way many might make you to see it. It's not frustrating. I've been able to interact with a lot of farmers, and oh my God, I will tell you that many are disappointed in their early beginnings, and even me too. In my upcoming post, I'm going to make a video telling you people my mistakes and how I was misdirected. But I thank God that I was able to leverage on my step backs, on my mistakes and my shortcomings in fish farming to be able to get to where I am today in fish farming. Because so far as fish farming is concerned, A to Z of it is in my fingertip. Please always like, share and comment on our videos. Ask your questions on the comment section so that it can be addressed. Put up your question in the comment section. It's open and I will address your question immediately. Thank you guys for watching. Remember to share our posts. Subscribe to my channel so that more people will get to know about this channel, so that with this we can correct many mistakes, many errors in fish farm business. I want every farmers and the upcoming farmers and those intending to enter into fish farming, I want everybody to be happy, to be a happy fish farmer. I don't want a negative review that you have spent your resources and at the long run you became stranded. You can't continue. That is why I've opened this channel to be able to educate people, educate existing farmers on mistakes, common mistakes fish farmers are doing, common mistakes I might too has made. That's why I've opened this channel for us to learn. You can drop your questions on the comment section. You can make your suggestions. You can make more input in this comment section so that we all can learn. Learning is a continuous process. We don't stop learning. No matter how you might think you have known, there are a point you will pick in anything. So thank you guys for watching. Remember to on your notification button and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.